Hi everyone. So on this channel I normally talk about the nervous system, movement and helping people regulate stress through something I call the equilibrium method. But before any of that, many years ago, I had a very, very different life. I was a futures trader uh, in London, trading German Bunds. And we did that in a pit. Uh, and the pit was circular, and it kind of stepped down into the middle. So it was kind of arena like. And there was, in my pit, probably 200 to 300 traders when it was full on a CPI day or a rate cut day. And us paper fillers stood on the top ring so that we could see our booths where our phone brokers stood with phones basically sellotaped to their ears all day, and they would hand signal the order from the client into the pit. So the guys that would trade with their own money, you see, they would stand in the bottom bit so they can't see the orders coming in, because otherwise they could front run that and make more money. And I think there was probably in the early days quite a lot of that went on. I knew a few of the guys down there that definitely rose to financial fame incredibly quickly. There was a lot of cameras and a lot of microphones, but trust me, deals were still made, always. That's another story. The story I want to tell you is about something that happened to me one day that taught me a lesson about markets and about human behaviour that I still use to this day. As I say, I used to trade the Bund futures on the London International Financial Futures Exchange. And one day I suddenly found myself holding 3,000 contracts while the market was dropping fast. And the reason I got into that situation was because there was this unique situation called a cross, where if your broker got a buy and a sell order at the same time, they could submit them in to the trader in the pit. Now, on a quiet day where no one's really doing much, you can do the open outcry for that. So if you had a buy and sell order for 500 lots at the price of 14, you would stand in the pit and you'd say 14 for 500, 500 at 14, 14 for 500, 500 at 14, cross 500 at 14. That would be noted by the life official that you've just crossed 500 at 14. No interaction, okay? Turn around to the booth, you're filled, yeah? Everyone's a winner. Everyone, a trader's a legend, right? Crossing's a particularly dangerous situation to get yourself in. I've been promoted up. My floor manager also happened to be my phone broker, trading the German Bunds. Good and bad, trust me. Good and bad. Jesus Christ. Yeah, I mean, he didn't mince his words, bless him. But you know, when you did good, he paid you well. And it was very father-son for me, actually. He took me under his wing, bless him. Back to the story. Before I digress so badly, the story never comes out. Cross. I got hit on one side. Market went against me. Okay. My boss looks at me, cold as steel. Hold, comes the instruction. Literally, I shit you not. That was one of the most intense moments of my trading career. Yeah. I mean, trading bunds on the London International Financial Futures Exchange at that time was chaos, basically. Organised chaos. Hundreds of traders shouting, and abuse as well. You know, it was absolutely rife. I mean, you know, my mum is going to be 80 this year and she still tells me to stop swearing so much. But it's like being in the military. It becomes ingrained in you. I just swear, unfortunately. You know, it's just, I don't mean anything by it. but there was a lot of swearing down on the futures exchange. Hand signals flying everywhere, you know. Let me do this for you. Let me give you a rundown. So you've got, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we go 6, 7, 8, 9. Then it goes to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. June was like this, Sep was like that, March I think was like that, and December I think was like that. I'm happy for people to comment on this if I've got that wrong. We're talking 25 years ago now. Freaking amazing I'm still here. So pits of chaos, hundreds of traders shouting, hand signals flying everywhere. Okay, you can imagine it. It's like in your face, big time, right? Noise levels of Formula One. Orders coming in constantly, right? I worked for a company called German Resources. Now, German were pretty big players down on the futures exchange when I was there, and I was turning over probably 20,000 contracts a day for that firm. That was big paper. Yeah, we were filling some big shoes every single day. So if we stepped into the pit, traders stopped to look and observe, because it meant we were about to do something, and likely in size. So we had the respect of the pit. You know, little old me, my mnemonic was PUR, purr, right? I got absolutely destroyed for that. Made the making of me, man, all that bullshit, right? So that's kind of the situation, you know. Market was quiet, and I attempted a cross, thinking to myself, you've nailed this, my boy. This is a big one as well, 3,000 lots. The idea was simple. Just try and match the balance, buy and sell orders without disturbing the market. But of course, there is that risk that someone hits one side before the other fills, right? And that was where the exposure was, and that was what the problem was. And that's exactly what happened. Suddenly I'm sitting there holding 3,000 Bund futures, and actually the market's dropping away from me. If you're a trader, you know that feeling. Your stomach drops with the market. I can still feel it now, honestly. Enter the mentor. My floor manager, fucking legend, that bloke. Kevin Crickmar. Grebo was his nickname down on the floor. Absolute legend. Hope he's still alive. Get in touch. Weirdest thing with YouTube, it could well happen. So he looked at the situation and he said one word: hold. That takes confidence. I didn't have confidence, because in those markets, panic can make things worse. Sometimes the move is real. Sometimes it's just a temporary flush. And that's exactly what happened. The market came back, but now I had the different problem. I was sitting on the offer with 3,000 contracts to unload. Now, here's the beauty about that little situation. The locals, the guys I said that trade with their own money, that stand in front of you, well, you get your own little gang, right? People start realising who the players are, who can move the markets. And the sensible locals, they use their noddle and they get in front of the people that are pushing it down, pushing it up. Because that's where they're going to make their money. They get the nod, the wink, you know. There's microphones everywhere, there's cameras everywhere, there's video everywhere. Trust me, where there's a will, there's a way. You look after your own down there because they look after you. When you're getting absolutely fucking hammered one day, your boys will step in. They did for me all those years ago. So my little bunch of vultures can smell it coming back up. And they are fucking locked and loaded, right? They are all over me with the fucking twitching, the nudges, all the rest of it. I'm like, boys, fucking settle down. You're all going to get fucking in. I've already got this worked out. I know what they're going to take off me. I know what their own personal limits are. I've already worked out in my head I'm offloading 2,000 of these fucking contracts before we even get there. At the point I have to go at 14. Trust me, I've already sold 2,000 of them. This is like the fucking crypto rows. We'll get to that later. I end up holding a presence of probably actually about 1,500 lots at 14 while the market is trying to pump quite aggressively now against me. I cleared my trades with efficiency and control. I was in the zone. I was living the moment. I was very present and aware. And because I had a plan, when it came to writing up my cards, I didn't fuck myself over there. I was in a bad position that I needed to get out of. There was no time to start splitting this up and being the nice guy. I just had to get the job done. So my boys in front, they knew liquidity was coming. In comes the execution, as I've said. So I started trading hundreds of contracts at a time. I'm like, you've got 250, 250, 250, 250, 250, 250, and on I go. Hundreds, 50, 50, 25, 25 over there. You want, fuck off with your one lot. I don't want your one lot. 100, yeah, you're done. Off I go. I had to be precise. There was no error. There was no room for error, sorry. There was no mistakes to be made. I couldn't have an outstanding trade. And you know what? I knew I wouldn't. I got a round of applause by the guys in the pit at that time once I got through that, because they realised how fucked I was. And they admired me for holding my own under, this immense buying pressure, you know. When I finished and wrote my last card up, my boss, Grebo, he looks at me and he says, you all right? I was like, yep. He goes, well done. Go and get a fucking coffee. And that was the moment. That caught me off guard. I was going to say that was the moment I knew I'd passed a test. Link that to today. Let's do it, you know. This is how my mind operates. What's interesting is that years later I started watching the crypto market. And the behaviour felt very similar. The panic, the overshooting, the sudden reversals, market change and technology changes. Yeah. But you know what? With all of that, human psychology doesn't. And that's something I learned in the trading pit. If you ever wondered how experienced traders read markets, it often starts with recognising human behaviour, not just charts, behaviour. And that lesson has stayed with me ever since. I hope you find that really interesting. Because somebody was saying to me, you know, these days are gone now, the trading days when people were in the pits. So people find that quite interesting. And I hope you did. Stay safe and be well.